Behold, the divine light guides us all.
I, Ezra, saw upon the Mount Zion a great people whom I could not number, and they all praised the Lord with songs. And in the midst of them there was a young man of high stature, taller than all the rest. And upon every one of their heads he set crowns, and was more exalted, which I marveled at greatly. So I asked the angel and said, Sir, what are these? He answered and said unto me, These be they that have put off the mortal clothing, and put on the immortal, and have confessed the name of Yahweh. Now are they crowned and receive palms. Then said I unto the angel, What young person is it that crowneth them, and giveth them palms in their hands? So he answered and said unto me, It is the Son of Yahweh, whom they have confessed in the world. Then began I greatly to commend them that stood so stiffly for the name of the Lord. Then the angel said unto me, Go thy way, and tell my people what manner of things, and how great wonders of the Lord thy power thou hast seen.
Whosoever therefore shall confess me before men, him will I confess also before my Father which is in heaven.
Matthew chapter 26, verse 29. But I say unto you, I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine, which is wine, which is made from grapes, as you know. And our Lord, he loves to drink, man. That's something that our Lord took pleasure in when he was here on this planet Earth. He's not going to do it anymore until he returns to do it with you. Showing just how much he loves his elect, man. He's not even going to drink until he does it again with you. I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom. So what a moment that's going to be, man.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Kakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers, and peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bashim Shai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful lake, the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashim Shai. All right, and I want to go into the day on how, the righteous aristocracy of Israel, okay, the rightful rulers, okay, because as we, have been awakened to who we are and coming back to this understanding where we wake up, to promises, and these promises come with a responsibility, and in this captivity, what the Lord put emphasis on is the responsibility that comes with rulership. Us being in this, this wicked rulership of Esau, Edom, having to be powerless in this system. Okay, well, it makes us appreciate, the righteous rulership that the Heavenly Father has come into the earth. It makes us anticipate righteousness. Okay, and then we understand the importance of running the earth in righteousness, man. Okay, so the Lord awakened his sons in these latter days, right before, he will begin to judge this wicked kingdom. Okay, and he's getting us ready for the kingdom to come after. Okay, which is going to be in righteousness under Yahweh Shai. Okay, And the Lord spoke about these things from the beginning. Let's get this real quick. All right. Because when you go into the Bible, to sum things up, the Bible is the story of the sons of God. Okay. Their rise, their fall, okay, their history, their captivities, okay, their rulerships, so forth and so on, man. Okay. And it's about them coming full circle, beginning with the only begotten son, the firstborn, which is Yahweh Shai. Okay, so let's go here real quick. Um, let's go here. What I was I think I was already there in the book of Isaiah. I'll get this in Isaiah. Probably come back to me. All right. But you go into the book of Isaiah, chapter 46 and verse 9, it says, remember the former things are old, for I'm the most high, and there is none else. I'm the most high, and there is none like me. Okay. So the Heavenly Father, all right, he separates himself, from false deity because of prophecy, man. And he established his will in the earth. Okay. And he speaks his will through the prophets before they happen. Okay. To show that he is. And Esau tries to imitate these things on the left hand side. Okay. But what he wants to happen and what the Lord wants to happen, okay, is two different things, because according to Esau, he wants to continue on this wicked rulership, and the Most High is going to end it. Okay. So this is going to be the ultimate showcase of the Most High, showing that he is, when he ends this empire, that there's none like him, because Esau has tried to liken himself unto the Most High in these latter days, man. Verse 10, it said, declaring the end from the beginning and the ancient times of things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. Okay, so what we're seeing is the Lord doing his pleasure in the earth, and his counsel is going to stand. He had a counsel from the beginning. That's why there's an elect predestined from the beginning. Okay, because the Lord has this thing mapped out. Okay, he knew the journey he was going to take his sons on. Okay, his people. All right, he knew the journey he was going to take them on to refine them to be righteous leaders, man, to be righteous rulers. Okay, and then we look unto Yahweh Shai, which is the first one to complete, all right, that refining process, man. And now we're finishing up ours, man, and may we, finish this thing strong, man. You brothers on the front line, okay, toiling and fighting and laboring, and sacrificing in his ministry, man. May we finish this thing out strong, man, because it's about his sons being refined, man. Okay, and everybody gonna benefit from that, man, starting with the elect of Israel. All right, men, women, and children of the hopeful elect, they're gonna benefit off this righteous government. Okay, because who's going to benefit the most is the nation of Israel, beginning with the elect. And then eventually even the rest of the earth is going to benefit from a righteous rulership, man. The rest of the heathens, excluding Esau, who's going to be exterminated. Okay, and there's always going to be a major separation between Israel and the heathens, man. Okay, it's going to be that great Gulf fix, you see. But after 1,000 years of their rigorous captivity, okay, that hardcore bondage these heathens have to endure as a punishment, man, they will enjoy a righteous kingdom under righteous rulers. Okay, it ain't just going to be random airstrikes and coups and, trying to push alphabet agenda on, XEX trafficking, ring, children discipline. It's not going to be none of that, man. Okay, trying to divide the man and the woman, all the wickedness of this kingdom. Nah, man, the Lord's finna restore, all right, his people as rulers. Okay, now I want to get, okay, this word aristocracy. Okay, I want to get this word aristocracy. Okay, and then go into it in the scriptures. Now, aristocracy is a form of government or social structure where power is held by a small, privileged ruling class, often characterized by hereditary nobility, all right, your lineage, high birth, or or great wealth. Okay, and we know that the small government, all right, that's going to rule the earth is going to be best. Is going to be based off a lineage of nobility, which is the lineage of Israel. Okay, and it says originating from the Greek aristocracia, all right, or rule of the best. Okay, rule of the best. It historically denotes elite governance, distance from monarchy and democracy. Okay, so what we're going to have, is Yahweh Shai is the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Okay, and under Yahweh Shai, all right, you're going to have a ruling family. 12,000 men, from each tribe, and all these tribes represent what? One big family. Okay, so it's going to be a righteous government headed by, all right, the monarch Yahweh Shai. Okay, and aiding him in his rulership is going to be a ruling family. All right, aristocrats, the best choice, the rule of the best. All right, and it's not going to be based off of wealth. Okay, it's going to be based off of righteousness. It's going to be based off of wisdom. Okay, it's going to be based off, all right, how the Lord, created these spirits to be superior, because those first fruit spirits were created to be superior, not for the sake, of personal indulgence, okay, or the perks or the privilege that just come with being a ruler, okay, but for sustaining life and righteousness in the earth, man, to govern the earth in righteousness. The first fruits were created, all right, to be the best fit for that, okay, and it comes with a responsibility, man. Okay, it's not a thing of us just kicking our feet up, okay, and just indulging in the flesh. It's a thing of ruling in righteousness for the forwarding of life in the earth, man, for the betterment of everything, man. Okay, all creation, all life is going to benefit off the elite of Israel being in power, man. And it's going to be a firm but humble rulership. Okay, it's going to be a firm, all right. It's going to be a punctual, but it's going to be also an element of humility, man. And this is what this last captivity has taught us is humility, man. It's making us well-rounded, righteous rulers. Okay, so the Lord, when you go back, let's go here. All right, because when you go, and we always get it. Okay, well, let's just go here to the book of Genesis. Okay, in the beginning. Okay, showing it's gonna be a family, man. It's Genesis 1:1. It says, "In the beginning, the Elohim created the heaven and the earth." Okay, now we always go into it. Well, this is going to tie in with the rest of the lesson. All right, so we know the Elohim. Okay, when you go into it, it says God, but then it goes into what the Elohim. Okay, which goes into what rulers, judges. Okay, so the rightful rulers, the rightful judges is the Elohim, which are those first fruit spirits, those divine ones. Okay, divine ones. And then it says what? God like one. Because what? We're the sons of God. Okay, so when you go, okay, to this in the beginning, all right, is Ra'ashayath, all right, Ra'ashayath. When he goes and says first, beginning, the best, because what is aristocracy? What? The best rule, chief, the choice. Okay, the choice. You see, in first, all right, in place, time, or rank, specifically the first fruit. Okay, so the chief, the choice part. All right, so the Lord created those first fruit spirits in the beginning. Okay, beginning, under Yahweh Shai. All right, in the beginning, He created those first fruit spirits under Yahweh Shai. Well, it was Yahweh Shai that brought forth the first fruit, because the Heavenly Father brought forth Yahweh Shai, and Yahweh Shai created everything else. And Yahweh Shai, He created those first fruit spirits to be superior to aid Him in rulership. Okay, because we aided Yahushua created everything, and we of that number. All right, those first fruit spirits they created Yahushua and aiding it. Creating everything. Okay, in full circle, they're going to be with him and restoring everything back to righteousness, man. All right, those 144,000, those are those first fruits that was in the beginning, the chief, the choice. Okay, so even when you go here, let's go here to Jeremiah, and when you get that word noble, just to get that word noble. All right, so we was created as the choice. All right, as the best. Okay, for the sake of ruling in righteousness, man. Jeremiah 2:21. Yet I planted thee a noble vine, wholly a right seed. Let you know, speaking of a lineage, how then art thou turned into a degenerate plant of a strange vine unto thee? Because at this time, Jake, has started to degenerate. And when you degenerate, that means you leave off from the way of your forefathers, okay, of your ancestors, man. Okay, and we left off from the right way. And during this time in Jeremiah, Jake was heavy into idolatry, going into the southern kingdom, which of the southern kingdom you had the line of Judah, which through Judah was, the head tribe. Okay, and through him will come Yahushua, through the lineage of Judah, through King David. You will have Yahushua will come through that lineage, man. Okay, but the Lord said He planted us a noble vine. All right, and what makes us degenerate is when we go in the way after the heathen. Going the way after the heathen is a downgrade. There's something else we're realizing in this captivity. Trying to be like the heathen is a downgrade, man. It's a downgrade trying to imitate the heathen, man. When the Lord gave us a superior way from the beginning. Okay, so I want to go into the word noble, which is in the Hebrew, which is sharak. All right, sharak. All right, so you go into the word noble. What it means is choice species of vine, choice or grapes. Okay, it says in the sense of redness, says a vine, a stock. It says choice. Okay, the richest variety. Okay, the richest variety choice. Okay, so the Lord planted us as a noble vine, the nation of Israel, and all we were supposed to produce, okay, was the best kind. All right, because if you have a particular, all right, vineyard, and it produce, like a choice grape, well, that's the only thing it's supposed to produce. You see, and if we, were to follow those laws, statutes, and commandments and being obedient to our power, we will only produce, the choice people of the earth, the best fit people for rulership in the earth. If we were to stick to their way, but we fell away, we became degenerate. Okay, but in the latter end, the Lord will raise us up, all right, and return us back to their way. There was a remnant, okay, that was predestined from the beginning to be awakened and return back to their way of being what? Their choice, their best for rulership, the best fit for rulership, man. All right, the richest variety, man. Okay, so you go from there, showing you that the Lord, had was establishing. Let me see, because when you go here, let's get this. It said Genesis 17. All right, so when you go, all right, with Abraham, you can link Abraham all the way back to who? Adam. Okay, because Adam fell from the way. Okay, but the Lord, still made promises to this lineage. Okay, to this family, because eventually he was going to, okay, return this family back to rulership, man, back to righteousness. Okay, this was the lineage in whom the Lord was going to perfect his sons. All right, through the lineage of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay, the sons of God will be perfected. in these latter days. Okay. So this is Genesis 17:5. It says, neither shall thy name be called Abram, but thy name shall be Abraham. For a father of many nations have I made thee, and I will make thee exceeding fruitful, and I will make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee. Okay, and kings shall come out of thee. Okay, so this is the promise of aristocracy, man. Okay, when you have a family of rulers, you see, and it says, and I will establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after thee, going into Isaac, and then from Isaac to Jacob, in their generations for an everlasting covenant to be a power unto thee and to thy seed after thee. Okay, and now when you jump to Genesis 35, this same promise showing you what lineage he was dealing with. Okay, because Esau was rejected. Okay, Esau is not a part of this aristocracy, man. You know, he was given this wicked oligarchy to run, you know, for a moment in time. The joy of the hypocrite, but for a moment, the triumph of the wicked is short. Okay, so he was given a wicked oligarchy to rule. And this time, well, Jacob was given a eternal righteous aristocracy, man. Okay, to rule forever. You know, we're gonna be a ruling family forever in the earth, man. This is what we got coming. You know, brothers, tap into that, lock into that, man. This is what we got coming. You know, brothers, tap in. Speaking to myself first and foremost, man. Tap into this, man. Okay. Genesis 35:10. And the Most High said unto them, thy name is Jacob. Thy name shall not be called anymore Jacob, but Israel shall be thy name. And he called his name Israel. So just as he changed, Abraham's name from Abram to Abraham, he changed Jacob from Jacob to Israel, Yasha'Allah, he prince of the power. He was giving Jacob a title. Okay, which those titles come with what? Privileges and inheritance, and also responsibility more than anything. Okay, it says, and the Most High said unto him, I am the Most High Almighty, be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall come of thee, and kings shall come out of thy loins. Okay, so he's giving Jacob the same promise. Okay, of aristocracy, man, a ruling family. And the land which I gave Abraham, Isaac, I will give it. I said, to thee I will give it, and to thy seed after thee will I give the land. All right, because the land of Israel is going to be the center of the earth. Okay, that land represents global dominion. Okay, it's strategically placed, all right, in the center of the earth to run the earth, man. You know, and that's our land and that's our birthright to rule the earth in righteousness, man. Emphasis on the righteousness. Okay, so the Lord was always dealing with aristocracy, man. You know, which is a ruling family. All right, let's go here because you go here to the book of Psalms. I'm gonna get this in the NLT. Psalms 122. Get in the NLT real quick. All right, Psalms 122. All right, it says, here stands the thrones where judgment is given, the thrones of the dynasty of David. Okay, the dynasty of David, man, and who will come through the lineage of David, Yahweh Shai, you know, to be their top monarch. Okay, their top king of this aristocracy that's coming to the earth, man. Okay, and what is a dynasty? You see? Let's see, what is? Let's get this real quick. Yep. So let's go here real quick. So just look at what a dynasty is. It says a dynasty is a sequence or succession of rulers, leaders, or powerful members belonging to the same family, house, or group. who maintain control, influence, or rule over a country, organization, or field for multiple generations. It often refers to a period of time during which such a family holds power. And see, we're going to have power forever. Okay, and we're going to be immortal. Okay, and this is a dynasty, all right, that the Lord always wanted to establish from the beginning. Okay, but we had to be refined, all right, for those offices, man. And now we in that last phase of being refined. And he's going to establish the dynasty, okay, of the house of David in the earth forever, man, which consists of, all right, rulers from all 12 tribes, man. Okay, well, Yahweh Shai is the head. Okay, so going back from there, let's go here. Let's get this. Let's win the NLT Isaiah. All right, and this gonna come out often. Okay, I like playing your favorite song over and over again. This is Isaiah 32:1. It said, "Look, a righteous king is coming, and honest princes will rule under him." Okay, so this is their righteous aristocracy, man. All right, the rule of the best choice, the best part. Okay, those first fruits. And their righteous king is Yahweh Shai. Okay, those honest princes are those joint heirs, 12,000 men from each tribe. Okay, so the Lord is finna get ready to establish a righteous aristocracy in the earth, and it's going to be forever. Okay, that's why if you go here to Revelation, what does it say? Revelation. All right, yeah, Revelation 14 and 1. And all right, it's Revelation 14 and 1. It says, "And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his father's name written in their foreheads." Okay, so Mount Zion is the government, and that lamb is Yahweh Shai, which is going to be the summit of the government. Okay, the head of the government, man. Okay, and with him was 144,000. This is one family, 12,000. All right, men from each tribe. Okay, that's why even you go here, real quick, I'm gonna get that. Let's just show you that those 144,000, okay, come from what? A particular lineage. You see? Now, when you go here, I'm gonna go back to Revelation. Okay, in Revelation 7:4, it says, "And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there was sealed of 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel." So those 144,000 are all of the tribe of the children of Israel, lineage, aristocracy. Okay, and that's who John the Revelator is seen upon Mount Zion with Yahweh Shai. All right, John seen, okay, these 144,000, which when you go, all right, from Judah, Reuben, Gad, 12,000. Asher, Naphtali, Manasseh, 12,000 each. Okay, Simeon, Levi, Issachar, all right, 12,000. Okay, Zebulun, Joseph, and Benjamin, okay, 12,000, man. Okay, and Joseph is interchangeable with Ephraim. Okay, it's the same thing. Okay, because Joseph was the father of Ephraim and Manasseh. With Ephraim getting the the blessing of the firstborn, even though he wasn't. Okay, because Ephraim, he will be the head tribe of the northern tribes. So this is a family thing, man. This is all come from one family. You see, so those 12,000 men seen on Mount Zion with Yahweh Shai, those 144,000 men, all right, seen with Yahweh Shai on Mount Zion in Revelation of 14th chapter, where those 144,000 men are made up of 12,000 men from each tribe of Israel. from that family. Okay. And when you jump down, just to get to the point, okay, it said, verse 4, it said, these are they which will not defile with women, for they are virgins. And it's speaking about spiritual virgin, okay, not being defiled with the doctrines and philosophies of this world. Once we were awakened and born again, these men were never defiled with the doctrines and philosophies of this world. Okay. They stayed faithful to Yahweh Bashim Al Shine to the end. Okay. These are they which follow the Lamb, Yahweh Shah, whithersoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruit unto the Most High and to the Lamb. And it was set up from the beginning for these men to always follow Yahweh Shai, man. So no matter what we would awaken at to who we were, we began to follow Yahweh Shai. Okay, in the spirit. You see? And it says, these were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto the Most High and to the Lamb. Okay, so we were redeemed. The Lord brought us back unto himself from amongst his world. Okay, and he separated us to himself, man. You know, that's why the first fruits, it requires more of a sacrifice. You see, there's more responsibility that's required of those of the first fruits. Okay, because he didn't make us superior for the sake of just bragging. Okay, for bragging purposes, man. He made us of the best stock for the sake of righteous rulership going forward, righteous judgment going forth, man. Okay, so you go into that word in the Greek, and it's
Strong's G 536. Aparche.
parquet.
Aparche.
All right, now you jump to the definition. It says person superior in excellence to others of the same class, their best choice, their noble vine, their chief. Going back to the beginning, their chief. Okay, the choice. Okay, so there's a elite, even amongst the elect, there's an elite class, okay, whom the Lord has chosen to be amongst Yahweh Shai's the joint heirs. Okay, what did Yahweh Shai say in the book of let's get Matthew 19? We always get it. Okay, this is Matthew 19. Start at 27. The disciples' reward. And the disciples will what? Those first fruits. Matthew 19 and 27. Then answered Peter and said unto him, behold, we have forsaken all and followed thee. What shall we have therefore? And Yahweh Shai said unto them, verily I say unto you, that ye which have followed me in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory. And we in that regeneration, as the disciples have been, born again, reincarnated. Okay, some in the heavens, some on earth. Okay, when they came back in their lot to head the church. Okay, to be forerunners for Yahweh Shai for the rest, of the prophets. Okay, beginning with Elder Abba Bibbins, which he was John the Baptist coming back, which John the Baptist wasn't amongst the 12. Okay, but he's of their first fruit, no doubt. Okay, it says, ye also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay, showing you what? It's a ruling family. And that just means that there's going to be, and because those 12 thrones, okay, there's going to be those 12 disciples, okay, that's going to be, of those highest, ranks under Yahweh Shai. Okay, then you're going to have what? The rest of the 144,000 in their office, in their rank. Okay, overseeing, okay, and governing in righteousness, man. Okay, and judging the 12 tribes of Israel. The Israelites are not going to need to be judged, like the heathen. Okay, which they're going to need to be corrected. There's still punishment going to go forth amongst the heathen. Okay, well, amongst the 12 tribes, man, these men are just going to be they're going to preside. They're going to be making decisions on behalf of the tribes. Okay, and forward in the kingdom. All right, they're going to be in leadership position amongst the tribes. Okay, so this is going to be a ruling family. Okay, because all the heathen will be subjugated to the whole of Israel. Okay, but within Israel, just like any other, governing body, there's going to be rank and order. Okay, it says, "And everyone that have forsaken houses, or brethren, or sisters, or father, mother, or wife, or children, land for my sake, shall receive 100-fold, and shall inherit everlasting life." We're going to inherit everlasting life. You see, we're going to be perfected, man. The sons of God finally perfected, man. You see? So there's nothing we can lose in following Yahushua. Yahushua letting us know, look, y'all can't lose. Okay? There's nothing you can lose. Anything that we think we lose on this side, we get it back 100-fold forever. It's gonna keep returning in 100-fold forever, man. We got everything to gain, man. Nothing to lose, man. You really tap into your Yahushua and you realize we got everything to gain, nothing to lose, man. What can we lose? Okay, we already dead to this shit. We know we don't got nothing. This shit gonna be nuked. Okay, everything that we can stand on, touch, walk around, everything's gonna be out of there, man. Drive, everything we can drive or whatever. All this gonna be out of there. Okay, this is just a temporary situation we in. We got, all right, forever coming, man. You see, it says, "But many that are first shall be last, and the last shall be first." You see that? Going back to the beginning. You see? He's finna restore the aristocracy from the beginning. All right. So the last shall be first. All right, 144. You see that? 144. Strong G 140 4413. All right, 144. Okay, which their word is protos.
Strong's G 4413. Protos. Protos.
Protos. All right, first in time or place, the same word as the beginning. In any succession of things or persons, first in rank, influence, chief. Okay, the aristocracy, man. Okay, and he created those first fruits, all right, to be the aristocrats of Israel. You see that? Going back into it in time, place, okay, importance, chief, best, beginning. Okay, so Yahushua, he's coming to restore and put his family on top, man. Okay, to put his family in rulership, beginning with those first fruits. Okay, what did Yahushua say when you go to the book of let's get that real book of John, chapter 20. Show it's a family thing. All right, it's a family thing, man. This is a real family, man. It was a family in the heavens. Before it's a family in the earth, man. This is heavy. Okay. All right, this is St. John 20:17. Yahushua said unto her, "Touch me not, for I am not yet ascended to my Father, but go to my brethren and say unto them, I ascend unto my Father and your Father, and to my power and your power." This is a family thing, man. And he was speaking to Mary because the women, they're daughters of the Most High. It's a family thing. Okay, when we see brother and sister, man, this is not, just no formality, man, no figure of speech. No, it's a true family. You see? And this family was created to rule. Okay, we just fell off. You see? But the Lord is raising us up now to establish us back. Okay, in these positions of rulership. This is what Yahushua is coming to do, to put his family on, man. Okay, and that's what I wanted. It came back full circle. That's what I wanted earlier. Let's go back here to Psalms 50. All right, there we go. All right, Psalms Psalms 50, because as we reached the end of Esau's rulership. Okay, and Esau's whole thing was to suppress, all right, this royal family. And he wanted to keep us degenerate. You see, but that's not the will of the Lord. Okay, Psalms 50 and 20. Thou sittest and speakest against thy brother, thou slanderest thy own mother's son. Okay, and this is speaking to Esau. And who was the brother of Esau? Jacob. Well, Jacob was the chosen, and Esau was set by. He was a reject. Okay, and we see why he's a reject. You look at this nigga, how he runs the earth. We see why the Lord rejected his ass, man. It shouldn't be, it shouldn't be, you see, it shouldn't be rocket scientists. It shouldn't be a a hard, understanding. Okay, why this nigga was rejected, man. Psalms 50 and 20. Thou sittest and speakest against thy brother, thou slanderest thy own mother's son. Okay, because this man's whole rulership, one of the major narratives that he invests in is that we're less than human, that we're inferior, that we're inherently evil, criminals, because even with all this social engineering, that's still not the case of the majority of Jake. It's a lot, way more than, what it was when he first started pushing this scientific racism. Okay, but that's still not, it's just the worst of our people are overrepresented by this nigga's media and his music and entertainment. But this devil, he makes sure that narrative of us, okay, being inferior is at the forefront. Okay. Verse 21, these things hast thou done and not kept silent, and the Lord allowed this man to prosper, and lies and falsehood for a time. And then when the Lord raised up the prophets, there was a resistance, okay, to this nigga lies, man. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such as one as thyself, but I will reprove thee and set them in order before thine eyes. And set them in order before thine eyes, man. We're being set in order. Okay? The Lord is raising up that righteous aristocracy. Okay? There's this righteous family, beginning with their remnant. So we're being set up. We're being cultivated for rulership while this nigga's being dismantled, man. So while we're on the come up, the Lord got us shaking the hand at this nigga and telling him about himself while he's on the way down, man. Okay, and all we got to do is hold fast. All right, and let's go here, Revelation 2. All right, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 2, and verse 25. It said, but that which you have already, hold fast till I come. Okay, and what do we have, man? We have the faith and the victory. We have the faith and the promises of what Yahweh Shai is getting ready to bring. So we got to hold fast to that in the worst of time, in the worst circumstances. We got to hold fast to our belief in the victory over all this shit, man. And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations, man. He's going to give his family, beginning with those first fruits, those aristocrats, those righteous aristocrats, all right, power over the nations, man, forever. Okay? So the Lord is getting ready to restore, all right, a righteous rulership in the earth, man. And the devil, he's set up for failure. He's finna lose. Okay? So that's the point, just wanted to get into that, Lord will, you brothers. All right, and we sister was edified once again. I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakapadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers. And peace and blessing salutations to the hopeful. Shalom.